Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, has entered Gemini, the sign of the twins, July 4th, where she will be journeying through July 30th, 2025. Hello, my name is Eliane Nicole. I'm your astrologer and tarot reader, and in this video, I am going to talk about what it means when Venus, the goddess who governs romance, love, art, attraction, beauty, style, money, justice, is traveling through the temple of Mercury, the planet of our intellect, who is currently residing in Leo. But before I get to the translation, I just want to say, if you are watching this on Instagram, I'm just going to post the first 3 minutes here. The entire video will be available on my YouTube channel, Eliane Nicole. My YouTube channel is my name, Eliane Nicole. Please find me there. There will be a link in the profile bio of my Instagram to get there. There's also a link in the profile bio of my Instagram to go to my website, elianenicole.com, and book a reading with me. That email, or you can email me directly if you want to say hello or you have any questions about readings and you want to book a reading directly. If you're watching this on YouTube, please make sure that you are following me and hit the follow button. I just got distracted somehow. Hit the notification button so you're notified every time I post a new video. Subscribe. Subscribe is on YouTube. Follow is on Instagram. I'm trying to get it all right. So yeah. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, comment, like, share. Helps me in the algorithm, helps me grow my community, puts me in a position to continue to give these free astrological offerings. If you're watching this on Instagram, please make sure that you are following astrology.tarot.Eliane Nicole. Please like, please comment, please share. Very helpful to me, free for you. And now, without further ado, I am going to talk about Venus in Gemini. So when Venus is in Gemini, this tends to be a very social time. This is a time where, couples are going out together to parties a lot, or to meetings with friends or siblings or neighbors, people who aren't in relationships. This is a very flirty, playful time. This is a time that is really a good luck for online dating, because Gemini rules like social media and communications. This is a good time for communication between lovers, between spouses, between people who are dating, between friends, between siblings, between neighbors. In general, this is a time where people are really attracted to the meeting of the minds and great conversation and just having a good time together, just having a lot of fun and keeping it interesting and different and not doing the same old thing all the time. That's kind of the vibe of Venus in Gemini. She's very flirty, she's very chatty, she's networking, she's socializing, she's going to parties, she's having girls' night out, she's dating, she's frolicking, but she's also, as the artist, she's writing. Venus in Gemini is very much the writer, any kind of writer, songwriter, novels, screenplays, poems, whatever it is. This is a good 3-week stint for any kind of creative writing, because Venus is art and Gemini is writing. It's also a great time for speaking, speaking very eloquently. It's about beautiful words. It's about someone whispering sweet nothings in your ear. But Gemini, is one of the double-bodied signs, and it's the twins, and so there is that duality. And anytime a sign is, or a planet is traveling through any of the double-bodied signs, but Gemini in particular, there's a lot of duality. There can be duality. There can be polarity. There can be divisiveness. And that's the shadow side of Venus in Gemini. You know, she can be fickle in love. She can be two-faced in friendships or romance. She can be in love with two people at the same time. It can indicate a man who's making a choice between two women. Sometimes Venus in Gemini can indicate, just kind of like fickleness in love and matters of the heart. And that can apply to, you know, fickleness in art and other things that Gemini rules as well, potentially. But that's more the shadow. And so I do want to talk about in this video who the transit will affect most personally, and who will enjoy it the most and receive the most benefits, and who might experience more of the shadow aspects that I just spoke of. So of course for Gemini, anyone who has a Gemini rising, Gemini sun, this is going to be a big transit for you. And if you have Venus in Gemini, this will be your Venus return. And so that can be very, very romantic. But a Venus transit through your first house, if you're a Gemini rising, is a time where you are like glowing from within. You look particularly beautiful or handsome. People are magnetized to you. You just have that glow about you. You just have that kind of golden aura, you know? And it can be a time where you're being invited to a lot of social engagements. You find yourself going out, spending a lot of time with friends, catching up with your siblings, maybe even some delightful interactions with neighbors. You may be finding that you're doing some writing engagements or speaking engagements, or working on some of your own writing. This is a great time for writing for Geminis. And it could just be a time where, just in general, you're like, you know, busy and doing a lot, and it may be a time of a short, beautiful trip somewhere. But, you know, if you have a Gemini sun, really the same things that I just said. It can be, I think, a very romantic transit if you're having a Gemini sun. It can be a creative transit if you have a Gemini sun. And again, good for speaking or writing or any kinds of, you know, teaching, learning about the arts or beauty or women or any Venusian topic, style, design. You get the picture. So I also want to talk about in the video, so I just talked about the general representations of Venus and Gemini, but Venus is in Gemini probably like once a year. But what makes it unique each year is how it's interacting with the other planets in the sky and which planets it's interacting with. And this Venus, as she entered on July 4th, and mind you, I'm recording this video late. I'm not recording this video until July 11th. I usually like to record my videos before the transit, but this is a great opportunity for me to mention that astrology is just as meaningful and effective as a reflective tool as it is a forecasting tool, as it is a tool to just truly take in the quality of the present moment. All of those parts of time are valuable to gaze at through the lens of astrology. Wasn't sure if I was going to get that sentence out. but I did. Venus and Gemini. But yeah, part of the reason that I'm late is because Venus and Gemini is traveling through my first house. And on the days of those first aspects that she was making on the 4th through the 7th, I was literally at a social engagement every single day. And so I couldn't record on my normal schedule, and I'm late. But it's interesting because it applies to this astrology, because I'm a Gemini rising. Venus is going through my first house, and that was such a literal expression of the energy those first few days. She conjoined Uranus in Taurus, which could have brought a shakeup, a surprise, a plot twist in love, matters of the heart, art, beauty, style, women, sisters, daughters. On the 5th or on the 6th, she was sextile Saturn in Aries and sextile Neptune retrograde in Aries. And so Venus is presenting new opportunities in love, new opportunities in art, beauty, style, new opportunities around women, new opportunities around sisters, around daughters. And these are opportunity for new starts. These are important conversations that can be had at this time, or important writing that can be done about, what you want to do in this area, so you would be looking at the houses that Gemini and Aries bring together in your chart. And if you contact me for a reading, I can take you through that. It's getting dark, the lights aren't on, but I'm gonna keep going. The next big transit, July 7th, Venus and Gemini trined Pluto in Aquarius. So Pluto in Aquarius is there, like the new world, the Aquarian era, the kind of like backdrop to everything. And this is, this futuristic world that we're now in. We are in the early stages of it. There's still a lot being demolitioned and collapsing from the old world, but we are completely in this new era. We are in the AI era, the robot era, the driverless car era, the space travel era, the drone era. You name it, like the future is here, we're in it, and it is going to be speeding up exponentially. And that's also what I get from Venus conjoining Uranus, not in Taurus, in Gemini. Did I say in Taurus? I hope I never said Taurus. In Gemini. This is like, Uranus being in Gemini is like mind-blowing technological advances. And then Venus, it's like, oh my God, I love this, because this is going to be mind-blowing technical advances around like, regenerative medicine to stay youthful looking, like anti-aging, like non-surgical, non-invasive procedures, big strides in like beauty and health and regenerative medicine, like groundbreaking, never before seen kinds of technologies that are going to keep us looking beautiful and pretty and youthful forever. So that's one of the exciting parts about that Venus-Uranus conjunction in Gemini and the trine it's making to Pluto. That's what I'm saying. There are some really great things coming from this futuristic time. We don't have to be scared. There's a lot that we can embrace about it as well. I had to turn on the light in the middle of the reading because it's getting too dark in here. I'll be right back. So now, the other thing that I was gonna say, now I'm gonna have a shiny forehead, but oh well, just gonna get through this. The next transit is July 18th. So that transit is coming after this video. And that brings me to the point that this Venus in Gemini has two distinct chapters. July 4th through July 17th, Venus's host, Mercury, is in Leo going direct, but July 17th through July 30th, Venus's host, Mercury in Leo, will be retrograde. So those are two very distinct chapters of this Venus in Gemini. Once Mercury goes retrograde on the 17th, this starts to bring in the possibility of running into old lovers, hearing from exes. For some people, it may just be friends from the past that are coming in. For some people, this may be, art projects from the past that are being brought back out for conversation to possibly move forward on, or design projects. This can also be, in terms of like Venus as the writer, it's rewrites during that time, whereas July 4th through 30th or through 17th, maybe writing something, and then 17th through 30th, you're rewriting something or something like that. So that's a little bit of the energy. And yeah, there's definitely energy of like old lovers, exes, and stuff like that coming into the picture when Mercury goes retrograde in Leo while Venus is in Gemini, which brings me to the 18th, when Mercury is stationing at 15 degrees Leo, which is also a world point. So this one will be in the headlines. Venus sextile Leo, Mercury in Leo. Sextiles are opportunities, Oh, I didn't talk about the sextile. So July 6th, she made a sextile to Saturn and Neptune in Aries. Oh, I did talk about that. Ooh, baby. Auntie needs to rest. Auntie's been out in the sun. Auntie is... I'm calling myself Auntie because my nieces and I just am like tired and being Auntie. But yeah, so Venus in Gemini sextile Mercury in Leo. That is beautiful writing, lyrics, songs, melodies, books, novels, plays, scripts, whatever you're writing, write it on that day. This is good for sweet, pleasant conversations. This is good for flirting. This is definitely a time where you may hear from an ex or run into an ex somewhere in passing. But yeah, it's a great time for starting to revise, work on the revisions for the creative writing you may have been doing since the beginning of July. July 21st, Venus in Gemini squares the North Node in Pisces. This might be lovers, romantic partners, spouses, having a conflict over the path to the future. They could be having a moral or spiritual conflict. They could be having an issue around dealing with anything like addiction, sensitivity, emotional intelligence, emotional maturity. These kinds of things may be coming up. And that's going to be especially for people who are like I was saying, you know, Geminis and Gemini risings, I think are going to really love this transit. Libras and Libra risings, Aquarius and Aquarius rising are going to love Venus transiting through Gemini, because at some point through her transit, she is going to form a trine with your personal placement. And so this is very uplifting, it's beautifying, it makes you more attractive to others. It's a time where you're generally having fun and able to, you know, enjoy the pleasures of your life. And, you know, Aquarians and Librans will have a similar experience because it will be trining their planets. So this will be very uplifting, kind of high vibration energy for Aquarius and Libras. Sun, moons rising in terms of, you know, socializing, getting together with friends, getting together with siblings, you know, networking, you know, dating. It's great for online dating. It's great for going out with, you know, couples, friends. It's great for girls' night out. It's great for guys' night out, you know, fraternizing. Gemini rules the siblings. And so all of that is really great for the air signs, you know, and also for the air signs, it's of course really great for your writing. If you guys are writers, it's a really great time for throwing parties. It's a really great time for, you know, just kind of, you know, putting yourself and your work out there, because this is a time where it would be very appreciated. And for Leos, this transit will be personal too, because Mercury is in your sign, Venus's host. So this Venus in Gemini will be more personal for Leos than a Venus in Gemini transit might be normally if her host weren't in Mercury. And Mercury stations to go retrograde, right as he stations, he's in a conversation, in a flirtation with Venus. So this is a time where people could meet someone who are, you know, single. And it's definitely a time for where people can hear from people from the past. But it's also a time where, you know, earlier in the month, July 4th, the Venus conjunction to Uranus in Gemini was more like you could meet a stranger on the street. But this Venus in sextile Mercury is almost like flirting with a friend, or, you know, someone who you already know, or someone from the past, or flirting with a neighbor, or, you know, something like that. And then I didn't talk about the trine to Pluto on July 7th. That was very empowering. Oh, I did. Oh my God. I'm tripping. But you know why? It's all of this air. Venus in Gemini is, I have so much in Libra, and there's this air trine. So I'm already a lot of air signs, and I'm just like airy-fairy being carried away. But I'm going to get through this. And you know what? Progress, not perfection. It's better for me to do it than to expect perfection of myself. Okay. The final transit that I want to talk about is Venus in Gemini square Mars in Virgo. Oh, that gets back to who it's personal for. Aries, obviously, I think are going to be very affected by this transit, because it is Saturn and Neptune and Aries. We're in a sextile with Venus, right, as she entered. So, you know, especially with people in the early degrees of Aries, will be very affected by this Venus and Gemini transit. And so a lot of signs are being affected by this transit, I realize, because all of the mutable signs really. So, you know, anything going on with Gemini, it's opposing Sagittarius. So Sagittarius, you may have some more oppositional forces, Sagittarius Sun and Sagittarius rising, in relationships, romantic relationships, possibly friendships, possibly with siblings, possibly with neighbors, but it works out. It's something that is teaching you to be a better communicator. It's giving you an opportunity to improve your communication skills if you're a Sagittarius, through some, maybe difficult or challenging situations. It could be, no's in love or rejection for Sagittarius, even Pisces, even Virgo, but especially for Sagittarius. Now, for Pisces, that square, as Gemini is going through, if you have Pisces Sun or Pisces rising, the square is challenging. It may be causing you to have to communicate clearly about something in a relationship issue, either a romantic relationship, a friendship, a relationship with your daughter, your sister, your wife, whatever, but where you need to get clarity in a conversation in communication where that's uncomfortable for you. And for Sagittarius or for Virgo, it's different. As Venus is traveling through Gemini, your square, as she hits your sun, moon, or rising, is more about kind of bickering in relationships, fault finding in relationships, nitpicking. This can be in romantic relationships, friendships. It can be your daughter, your sister, but it is a really nitpicky, kind of sarcastic, sharp, edgy kind of vibe. And so you want to be careful in your relationships if you are a Virgo of that, being too critical of people or being sarcastic or expecting perfection or that kind of stuff. So you see it affects the different signs differently. And then of course, I don't know, I think I got to the signs. And then so the square to the North Node in Pisces I talked about, and finally the square to Mars in Virgo. Again, July 23rd, this can be, being too critical of your romantic partner, your friends. It can be someone using a sharp tone or a sharp tongue when they are talking to their lover or even their sister, their sibling, their neighbor. It can be a time of, cat and mouse between lovers, that cat and mouse chase. Maybe mind games a little bit between lovers when that Mars and Virgo, Venus square Gemini. The games people play, baby. So anyway, that's it. I muddled my way through this baby. At least I did it. I'm behind in videos. I want to catch up because I want to track where all the planets are and follow the storyline. I enjoy doing it for myself. I enjoy doing it for others. I enjoy doing it for my clients. I think astrology works best when you work one-on-one with an astrologer. I would love to read for you. I read on Zoom, so I can read for people anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. And if you're watching this on YouTube, the link to book a reading with me on my website will be in the description notes below. Also an email, if you just want to email me to book a reading directly, if you want to say hi, if you have any questions about the readings. And thank you so much for joining me. Please enjoy the Goddess of Love and Beauty's run through Gemini. And yeah, I didn't talk about as much on the collective level what all the transits mean, but this video is long enough. So if you're interested in knowing more on the collective level, well, contact me for a reading and we can talk about it. And this dress, I feel like, I'm wearing a dress, it's not a blouse, but I feel like the angle that I have it cropped at is a little like dowdy looking, but whatever, you know, whatever. I'm happy that I'm here and that I did this, and I'm grateful that you joined me. Thank you so much. Bye now.